Recently, there's been a serious situation involving Hailey Baylee, her ex-boyfriend, and a ex-girlfriend of that boyfriend. It involves some serious claims made by the girlfriend against Hailey Baylee, so there is a lot of serious discussion in this video. While researching on this topic specifically, I suddenly remembered that Hailey Baylee commented on one of my old videos, and it actually has a lot to do with the situation. I've seen quite some misinformation on this topic specifically, so we're gonna go through everything accurately and slowly and give everyone the perspective they deserve. Because that is what all of you guys always deserve on every situation, a clear perspective. And that's what you're gonna get with this video. So we're gonna get into this, no hate towards anyone. We'll skip the intro because it's a more serious topic, and if you want to follow my Instagram, go ahead. With that, let's get started. So Hailey Baylee doesn't need much of an introduction. Like a lot of TikTokers I've talked about before, she has been relevant for a very, very long time on TikTok.
I really love this trend, so I'm gonna be sharing things on the internet that I wouldn't normally share in hopes that it'll make somebody feel a little bit less alone. I have always been super insecure about my skin and my forehead. Growing up, I had really bad skin and I was always teased for it.
She is someone who is able to follow trends effectively, and honestly, out of like the thousands of TikTokers that have millions of followers, she is one of the very few who has just been able to pull the same amount of views and numbers and likes over the years as ever. She makes a lot of jokes, she has some story times, she does a lot of everything, and she's been invited to a lot of major events, which also gets very viral views. She's also collabed with a lot of other big TikTokers like Bookmonk as well as other ones. She's also met other major celebrities, and the list goes on and on. Ariana Grande, Madison Beer, and countless others. The list would go on and on. One of the first times she went viral was when she started the Billionaire Boyfriend series, where she narrated her experiences with having a billionaire boyfriend, which she later confirmed he was made up and it was more of a joke on the audience. She also confirmed that in the comment she left under my video.
Okay, you got me. Oh my God, no. Okay. No. We're gonna try this again. No!
After making billionaire boyfriend content, she shifted to more of just making funny content. So when she started making more serious content, it caught a lot of attention of basically the entirety of TikTok.
I heard the girls were doing this and I just have so much I want to say. So welcome to a day in the life with your boyfriend from hell.
What made it even worse was the fact that this person she was clearly talking about in her recent videos in a very serious tone was someone that had been present in her past videos. And it would cause a lot of discussion. It was very split discussion, but we will be getting into that very soon. The last time there was discussion against Hailey Baylee was the let them eat cake situation, which I've talked about before. For those who do not know, I'm going to explain it very quickly because it's kind of an older controversy. She basically used an audio saying let them eat cake while wearing a fancy dress at an event, and a lot of people saw that as insensitive. We've discussed that before, so let's get into this particular situation recently. And so it mainly started with this video.
This story begins a day before because you have been traveling a ton for work, you have been so busy, and you are absolutely exhausted. And you and your boyfriend have plans to go to this amazing place together. You've called a bunch of people, you have paid money, he said he would go, and then he ends up ditching you. You're like, what in the world? We literally had plans. You said yes 6,000 times before I paid money, before I waited on call for 2 hours. What's going on? He blames it on work, so you're like, okay, I'm really upset, but he promises though that he will make it up to you. So you spend the entire day with your friends instead because your boyfriend never showed up, but you're still excited to see him when you get home. The second you land, you call your boyfriend and you say, hey, I really want to see you. Where are you? And he says he has work.
As this video went on and on, it clearly got worse and worse, and the situation involving her boyfriend was just honestly very sad. And people immediately began to figure out who this boyfriend was.
Every time you invite him over, he keeps saying, I'm busy with work, I'll come later. So you're like, okay. But then while you are scrolling on Instagram, you see that he has been following all of these women. And you're like, that's really weird. Why is he doing that? So of course you ask him and he responds by saying you are crazy, you are looking into things too much, and that nothing is going on. He's not talking to anyone else and he would never do that. So you're like, okay, that's sketchy, but I'm going to believe you. 8 o'clock rolls around and he finally comes over and you just have this like weird gut feeling.
The last time I made a video on Hailey Baylee was months and months ago, and I remember editing clips of this alleged, just in case he's into like the suing thing, alleged boyfriend. I remember remember editing TikToks of him and her. In fact, people quickly obviously discovered who she seemed to be talking about, and they would go on her older TikToks with him and comment things, and she would reply, and she was clearly indicating who it was at this point. So I came from the future, and Haley responds, yeah, he's a liar and a cheater.
So you asked to see his phone, and he's very reluctant to give it to you, which is weird because he literally 2 hours before just told you that you were crazy for thinking he would even consider talking to anyone else. He eventually hands over his phone, so you go to messages, but you're smart, so you know to go to deleted messages, and you feel like somebody stabbed you in the stomach. There are hundreds and hundreds of deleted messages from so many girls. So you pick a random message to start scrolling through, and it so happens that all day he was texting her. And you don't even recognize the name because this isn't even one of the names that he followed on Instagram. Of course, as you're scrolling, he keeps trying to grab the phone from you and saying, don't look, no, it isn't what it looks like. But
the video goes on, and Haley explains that she later found messages where a girl clearly indicated she was going over to his house. So he was full on cheating on her in a lot of different ways. And once again, Haley made quite a few different videos on this in particular, and people quickly became aware and were very, very, very sad about this entire situation. Around the same time, a TikTok began to resurface, saying, when you warn an influencer about the guy in her recent TikToks, talk to her for hours about how he traumatized you. She agreed he was a bad guy, then she stops responding, doubles down on posting him because it gets her views, and now she is under fire for her new series where she lies about her fake relationship with her billionaire boyfriend, making mockery of women who have come forward about their real abusive relationships. So this TikToker is clearly indicating that she obviously dated the boyfriend in the past, tried to warn Haley, and Haley just kind of cut her off allegedly, and then continued to date the boyfriend. And if you're wondering what she's referencing at the end, this is basically what she's referencing when she's talking about the whole billionaire controversy.
So I just broke up with my boyfriend, William, and my non-disclosure agreement just expired.
So I guess today Haley Baylee woke up and decided that this week she will be capitalizing off of exploiting women's trauma by taking her I'm Dating a Billionaire series and finally putting it to rest by turning it into one of those coming forward about who I dated series. And this isn't me encouraging any hate onto Haley Baylee, and I don't even know if the billionaire himself is real or not. But I do know, as someone who grew up in the same hometown as she did, Minnetonka, Minnesota, that she's constantly trying to paint as like this small town in Minnesota, which it absolutely was not. It's one of the richest cities in the state. But because Minnesota is the gossip capital of the entire United States, I was very easily able to get the details and figure out that the math of the story she's telling doesn't quite math.
So this TikTok is just to show what she was referencing. She was referencing probably this one. This one got the most views, and yeah, people were very annoyed about that one video. I've already covered this in particular in the past, and we'll look at her comments soon on my old video because I did never really make a video following up that statement, so I figured I might as well do it while this topic is being discussed because it does have to do with a lot of things discussed in this particular situation.
Who the fuck did I date series, a real one, not a fake one, with a little twist. Okay, so clearly we all saw my last video and a lot of you are wanting me to elaborate on my experience. This has a couple different levels to it, so I'm gonna have to do quite a lot of explaining. And I wanna say that the reason that I am doing this is not because I prey on her downfall or anything like that. It's not about that. It is purely because I reached out to her about this very bad man that she's continuing to give a platform to, single-handedly giving a platform to.
So Jamie Stone, the TikToker who originally made the video calling out Haley Baylee, made a series after that where she went into much more detail about the situation, and this caused some people to be very, very split. A lot of people were with Haley Baylee, but at the same time, there were quite some people who were like, hey, yeah, Haley's in the wrong this time. Haley Bailey's main response to the entire William controversy, well, specifically under my video, was to say, I use comedy to help deal with the pain I've experienced because if I can laugh about it, I can overcome it. William helped save me from a place that was dark that I was in by telling my story through satire. I've posted this on my community page during the summer for those who want to read it. And she seemed to indicate through other comments as well under my video and in interviews that William is based off of a terrible abusive relationship she's had in the past. And that's mainly what she's saying. It's just her way of retelling her story and help go through that trauma that she experienced. That was mainly her perspective on this particular situation.
He didn't have a platform before she came in the picture. She has been putting him in her videos, helping him make his own TikToks, helping him get millions of views on his videos, and this man is a danger to society. let me rephrase that. He's a danger to women, okay? Lots of women. Girls, young girls. Okay, we're gonna get into the backstory first of who this man is, and then I'll get into the part that brings in her.
And so it's a 3-part series. This is the first video. Each one is 8 minutes long, so I cannot show the entirety of it, and I apologize for that. If some of you are going to say I'm leaving out context or anything, I'm sorry, but I feel like I cannot show every single minute of all of her videos, but I will tell you what she says, and I will show clips that I thought were significant.
Okay? So it's a typical cliche, liar, cheater, manipulator, emotionally abusive. Very toxic relationship. I was an amazing girlfriend to him. I did nothing to deserve the treatment that I got. Not that anyone does something to deserve that. And while those are very important and hold a lot of weight, the reason why I feel compelled to say these things and make a video about it, which I, trust me, have gone back and forth about a million times and driving the people around me crazy asking their advice about it, because I don't want to like stir the pot. I don't want to cause a bunch of drama. I really, really don't.
But Jamie goes on to explain that she believes, regardless of the fact that she's going to cause drama or that she doesn't want to, that women deserve to know about this man and about how dangerous he is.
So obviously this was an extremely traumatic relationship that I have really been trying to work through over the last couple of years. And I've gotten to like a really good place, and I'm in a really healthy relationship now. And I feel like I've done a lot of work to like change the type of men I was going after. So, you know, Haley and I actually do sort of know each other. We went on a trip together with this magazine like a few years ago. It was actually right after Kyle and I broke up, which is so funny, like the full circle of it all. So, you know, I've met this girl, I've been on a trip with her, and, you know, and we never necessarily became friends, but I just felt like it was my obligation to tell her and warn her.
And for a few more minutes, Jamie goes on to explain that she relentlessly reminded Haley of the danger and the experience that she went through in this terrible relationship. Yeah, this guy is clearly a terrible person. It is very, 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 very depressing, and I hope that women stay far, far away from him.
So I DM her and I was like, girl, the guy in your recent videos has this. This is how I found out. She replies almost immediately and is like, oh my God, no way. She's freaking out. She can't believe it. I'm telling her more information, you know, other things about him, about who he is as a person, and the ways that, you know, he was just a really bad guy to me in the relationship, just to get the full picture. She's super receptive, and she says, you know, I'm a girl's girl. Like, I believe women. I believe you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. You know, like, I'm so happy that she's so open to this and she's not just being defensive. And I said that to her, and I thanked her for not being defensive. Then she goes on to just, you know, thank me and like, you know, I never would have known, like, you saved me, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, she says she's about to confront him. And I was like, oh my God, like, oh God.
Throughout each video, Jamie clearly seems very, very annoyed with obviously Haley, and we can see that there was a lot that happened.
And the next morning, I wake up to a DM from her, and she's like, hey, here's my number, by the way, text me. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I text her, and I'm like, hey girl, what's up? And so she just starts profusely thanking me. Oh my God, you're a lifesaver. You saved me. Thank you so much. You really helped me dodge a bullet. Meanwhile, let me preface that the whole time that I was telling her this information via DM, initially, that she kept saying that they were just friends and that he was like heavily pursuing her, but she wasn't interested in him. So
Haley has published a lot of videos recently. By the way, my sister watches Haley Baylee a lot. She's a huge fan, and she told me that recently Haley's content has changed. Well, this was a few weeks ago, so it's not like today, but she was telling me that just there was a lot of content about the boyfriend. It's very distressing, and for Haley, someone who is always so funny and laughing, there's definitely just been a major shift overall.
I just landed somewhere for a super secret shoot, but because I can't tell you that yet, let's do an edition of the things my ex-boyfriend did and I still stayed. Yes, I'm aware some of these are very foul and I should have seen it coming, but you know, when you're in love, you're dumb. Let us begin. After about a year of dating, I asked him what my middle name was and he didn't know. He didn't even have a guess.
From what I see of the two different perspectives, from Haley's perspective, she was in love and that's what made her blind. From Jamie's, she was being willfully ignorant. She believed that she could change him, and, well, those are the two different perspectives on the situation.
During the first 6 months that we were dating, he secretly talked to a woman, FaceTimes, text messages, hangouts, and I knew nothing about it until I saw it all in his phone, in the deleted. When I saw that a particular girl's text messages were under hide alert, he continued to tell me that that he must have fallen on his phone, and that's why the alerts were hidden. This man was literally on his hands and knees, begging me, looking me in the eyes, crying, telling me that that's what happened. When he met my parents for the first time, he drank a whole bottle of whiskey that day. And when I questioned him about it, he said that I shouldn't be able to control what he drinks and that he is an adult.
Under Jamie's TikTok, there are a lot of positive comments. There definitely were some ones that were not so positive and were siding with Haley, but overall, a lot of people were very mad at Haley after this, regardless of the TikTok she made.
He would follow so many girls on Instagram and like so many girls' photos that I had to download a tracker for the things that he liked just to check if he was lying to me about them. And he was always lying to me about them. That should have been my sign. I should have just, Whenever we would film a video together, he would make sure to make my life a living hell unless I tagged him. And even when I did tag him, he asked me to pay him to be in my videos.
Your significant other asking you to pay to be in your TikToks is like the biggest red flag there is. Like, imagine that, like making videos that, like, mind you, TikToks, like the TikToks with him were like 2 seconds long and he didn't have to do anything. Like, he would just stand there and there would be some caption. So the fact that he asked for money, like, that's kind of insane. I'm gonna be honest. Like, that is quite a big red flag right there. That is disgusting. What is wrong with this guy?
Which, like, you're my boyfriend. You should want to be in my videos. He would also get mad at me if I wouldn't help him edit and film his own videos, even if I didn't have time. Half the time I would just edit them for him. I paid for everything. Everything. For his birthday, I paid off all of his credit cards, and then he still asked me for more money. My first dog ever's name was Pooh Bear. She literally changed the course of my entire life. And about a year and a half into dating, I asked him what gender Pooh Bear was, and he didn't know.
These videos obviously gained a lot of traction, which led to Jamie's videos, which already had a lot of traction, to get a little bit more discussion going, because now Haley was being much more open about her relationship.
And I'm telling her a bunch of like really detailed stories about like what this man did to me, and they're horrific. Along with obviously the story about how I found out and just all the lies, all the manipulation, and just like how bad it was. And she's telling me some stories of hers where she's like, you know, starting to see his character coming out here and there, but wasn't quite sure. And I kind of just like made it official to her that he like was this bad person. Like, I spent hours talking to her, okay? And and it's not like I'm talking to myself here, okay? She is talking to me a lot. She is clearly wanting to like vent to someone and go through this with someone.
Throughout her series, Jamie expresses very, very clear frustration about all the time and effort and emotion she put into this, and explaining it to Haley, and says that Haley, once again, seemed to pretend to care, but in the end just kind of ignored her advice.
Like, she has like one more video left to post with him. She's like, oh God, I have one more video left to post with him. I'm like, you know, I get it. I don't really see the need to post a video with him. It was just like like a little video about them eating snacks together. But if, you know, it's her work, and if she feels like she needs to post it because she worked for it, like, then okay, I get it. And then she was like, yeah, but then I'm going to start making content that's like men are trash and unfollow him. So like my followers are going to know, because the thing is, like, obviously her content was kind of portraying like, are they together? Are they not? That's kind of what she does with like her partners or just like friends or whatever.
Jamie continues to state throughout the video and in the third part series that Haley continued to lead her on in a way, Jamie claims, and continued to say like, oh yeah, I'm definitely breaking up with him. He's evil. He's disgusting. Yeah, he's gone. Like, he's gonna be out of my life. I just have to obviously post this one last TikTok, which obviously Jamie didn't really like, but as she said herself, I feel like I'm just kind of repeating it, but as she said herself, she was like, whatever, it's just one TikTok.
A few days goes by. I haven't talked to her. You know, I'm giving her space. I don't want to be all up in her shit, you know? And then she randomly at like 1 a.m. in the morning posts a video with him like in the street, like twirling around again. And I was like, what the fuck? Pops up on my For You page, heart sinks, per usual. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, surely it's an old video and she just has nothing to post, so she's just posting it. And so she DMs me on TikTok and she was like, don't worry, it's an old video. And I was like, oh, okay, I kind of figured. I was like, I'm gonna need a trigger warning from now on if you post him, haha. And then she's like, oh, what do you want me to say? Jamie, trigger warning in the caption. And I'm like, ha ha ha, yeah.
And so far, once again, the audience I've seen, or people that have witnessed this on TikTok, have had very split reactions. Some people are saying Haley, because she's experienced very terrible relationships in the past, may have been a bit blind, maybe he manipulated her. Other people are saying, hey, no, she fully knew, she had the stories, and she just decided to go on and date this guy and kind of like just ignore this woman, and it's entirely her fault, like it's a consequence of her own action.
And then she posts a video where she actually tags him. And I'm like, oh, so you're tagging him now. So I DM her, I'm like, why are you tagging him? Like, please, please, for the love of God, do not prop this man up. He's the last person that needs to be propped up. Listen, at the end of the day, be friends with him if you want to, but why give him a platform if you know these things? I was like, is this like your bestie now? Like, what's going on, girl? And she's like, no, like, he's not my bestie, but like, we do film content together. And, you know, I had a really, really, really long talk with him, and I made him sign like something contractually to like make sure that like he would be fucked if he ever did anything. And at that point, I'm just like, oh, here we go. Like, I had the long talk with him, blah, 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 blah. Basically, I saved you. And I told you about what he has. And you were so thankful to me and said I saved you a million times, and you were just so thankful.
After that, Jamie claims that they slowly drifted out of contact, probably because they were slowly kind of seeing different sides and weren't obviously having the same talk they had before, and there was no more thanking.
Like, lengths that you would go to for all of that, why would you not just stop making content with him? You literally said you didn't care about this man, and then now you suddenly do care about him. Or is it just that it's extremely convenient that he's around to film whatever you need to film? He's not a good guy. He literally was just DMing a girl that I know, and she posted on our close friend story. That's how I even know about it. And she had no idea that we dated previously. I was like, he was trying to like get her to come see him and stay with him in New York City. And she said, I have a boyfriend. He said, I don't care. I was like, I can send you proof if you want. So, you know, I'm sending her the receipts. I'm sending her what I can send her. And she's like, do you have any more proof? And I'm just like, for what, dude? What the fuck else do you need to know from me? I'm like, what? You want me to like screenshot all of our conversations? I'm like, I don't really have any other proof besides my truth, what I just explained to you and everything we talked about. And I have a new phone either way. So I don't have my old text from when we were dating. That was like, you know, a few years ago. And then she just stops responding to me. That was the last thing I said to her. And she stopped responding to me.
After being cut off, she claims, by Haley, Jamie obviously was very, very frustrated, very mad. She felt a little bit used, and she felt a little bit ignored because she had been told thank you so many times and then had just kind of once again been cut off. And it was clear that the long talk had a lot to do with that.
So this all happens, and one video that was extra disturbing to me was the video where it's nighttime and she's like, guys, whenever you catch them liking a girl's photo, and they're both like cosplaying as guys, like getting caught liking photos. So she's like, bro, like, I swear I didn't even like know that was her. I didn't even mean to like it. And then it switches to him. And then he's sitting there and saying his little part of the skit, which to me is very real. And you know the kind of man he was to me. So not only do you know these things, not only are you still posting him, but then you're making a video that makes me relive a relationship with him to a degree that's actually insane.
Before the breakup between Haley and the boyfriend, obviously, once again, there was a lot of videos between the two. Like I said before in the former video I made months ago, there were a lot of videos I edited in with him and her, and I was like, oh, she has a boyfriend. I noticed that. And yeah, it's just kind of insane because that just felt so recent, even though it was a few months ago.
You are so caught off guard and so sad that you don't even know what to think. All you know is that he invited a girl over an hour before he came to your house. 1 hour. He, of course, tries to grab the phone from you while telling you, no, it's not what it looks like. I've never met up with her. I don't care about her. Meanwhile, you're still scrolling and he has met up with her because she sent a I'm here text to him. He starts begging you to give him the phone back, but of course you don't. You're trying to figure out all of the lies that your boyfriend has told you over the last year and a half.
Both situations are terrible to listen to. It honestly is hard to sit through some of the TikToks where they talk about the experiences. He's just obviously, once again, I know it's obvious, but a very, very terrible person. And it's just honestly disgusting. I don't know how to put it any other way.
And like Black Mirror kind of shit. Because I'm seeing with my eyes this man say the same things he used to say, and it's a joke and she thinks it's funny. And I was just like, wow, this is like some next level shit. And my opinion of her totally changed after that. And it even got worse when then, not too long after that, she did her fake little series exploiting women's trauma and women coming forward to try to get views and try to get clicks, strategically making the videos over a minute long, each one of them. And so that she can get money off of it with her fake story about a fake person that she made up for skits.
So Haley also responded to other people under my video, and she said one of the comments, which I couldn't find, but I know that she commented it. She said that William is strictly based off of someone in the past that was very abusive. I cannot say the word on YouTube. I apologize if it's insensitive, but that's what she said. She said she'd never meant to mock any woman's trauma. That's solely her perspective versus Jamie's. Whichever perspective you want to take in the situation, but I just want to give both sides, and that's what she said. She said it's based off of a person, and she's not trying to make it into a joke like how some people interpreted it.
Not a real relationship. It's all complete bullshit. Maybe she pulled inspiration from other places, but there's plenty of videos finding all the holes in her story that just don't make any freaking sense. So when I saw her making a mockery out of women and their trauma, and you know, the Risa Tisa, Brooke Schofield coming forward, which I was so just like, yes, when they made their videos. I love Brooke. I love the Risa Tisa series. I was so excited for them to be able to like share their stories and be at a time in society where women can share their stories.
Haley also has talked on a podcast, and she also explained how she came up with the character on there. But yeah, she's confirmed to herself that it's not a real story, it's more based off of something. And so that kind of clears up that mystery or that discussion.
Did you actually have a billionaire boyfriend?
No. When my apartment tour went viral, I could not afford it.
Yeah.
So I was 2 weeks away from moving out, and every single one of the comments were like, what man pays for this? I'm going to try to use that in a way that hopefully will make me be able to afford this one day. And I was like, oh, I'm going to give them a billionaire boyfriend.
Some people interpreted it as some sort of content genius. Obviously a way to go viral, a way to make money. Like this person reviewing the video, copyrighted music in the background, but this person explained that, yeah, if you want to go viral, you have to make your audience a little, like, confused about you, like, want to know more about you, and that's what Haley mastered. And other people were saying, obviously, that, no, this was very bad, she just, like, faked this relationship, she lied, and then she tried to, like, use it for more clout, tried to, like, exploit women's trauma. So it's an entirely different discussion there, and that's really summing up exactly what that was referring to, or what Jamie was specifically referring to there.
Or don't post them. That'd be great. I was like, you know, how are you doing, by the way? And then she's like, oh, you know, I'm doing good. It actually just didn't affect me at all. Like, I don't see men that way. I just see them as coworkers. And I kind of talked about it, like, it kind of seemed like her vibe was changing a little bit. And I was like, why does she keep talking like this? Like, she kept saying, like, oh, men are just coworkers. I'm like, okay. And then I found out later on it's because she was prepping me for all of the content she was about to post with them. So the next day, another video. And I'm like, wait, I'm so confused. Why are you posting him like this? I don't understand. I thought we were in total agreement that this is a bad man who does not need a platform and does not need more access to women. Like, you know my stories. You have your own stories. It's not like you're just having to trust me on it.
This was before they stopped contacting. And obviously, I do understand different perspectives on the situation, and once again, I've seen a lot because it's gained a lot of traction. I do understand that some situations boyfriends can't talk people, like, I don't know the exact word for it, but when you talk someone, kind of manipulate them, that, I saw some people comment about that, and I can also understand, well, maybe she was just ignoring it. Yeah, that's also a possibility. So, do we really know? Well, form your perspective. Honestly, I am curious what a lot of you guys will think in particular, so make sure to comment. I actually will read through all of the comments because I'm very curious about all of your perspectives.
He wanted to come on every work trip with me, so when we'd finally book tickets and set everything up in his name, he'd randomly bail. He'd say he had to focus on work, like a day before the trip, and I'd have to scramble to change everything. And he'd never apologize for that either. When I had surgery and couldn't even stand up on my own, he told me that it was too late to come over to help me. It was 9:30 and he was at his friend's house drinking. I sent him a voice note of me bawling and begging him to come over, and he ignored me the entire night.
So we do not know exactly what went down that led to that change or shift in Haley's mood, but it likely had something to do with the talk, because I mean it likely did. So we don't know exactly what was said, if he lied, if he tried to like lie his way out and he effectively did it. We honestly will probably never know exactly what went down, but the talk is what pretty much changed everything.
He had a thing for ignoring me whenever I was in any state that wasn't happy. I spent so many nights bawling my eyes out calling him, and he wouldn't answer a single call. And then the next day he would text me that he loved me like nothing happened. It was so... I don't even know how you do that to a person. I was going through something really serious with my personal life, and I told him about it, and he never asked about it again.
And I guess I'm probably not a complete expert on love, but it really comes down to like blind love. Like whether or not you being blindly in love excuses this or not. And that's where the internet truly has been split. Like, okay, maybe she was just so in love she didn't see any of the red flags, because that is what she says herself. But other people are saying, well, it was right there. Like Jamie told her all of these things and she just ignored it. So it really comes down to like, can you be blindly in love, or is that just like made up? Is that made up? Like, is it just an excuse, or can you truly be blindly in love?
That. And on top of that, the way that I just told you all of my traumas a couple of weeks prior to that video, and then you just did all of that to me, and you're double down on posting him, friend zoning a guy and using him for content that is a danger to women, and you don't care, and then you're making videos like this, mocking women coming forward.
In a recent distressing video, Haley is discussing, it was following a trend where you talk about things that you don't normally talk about, uncomfortable things, insecurities, etc. Haley mentions that she's been done so badly by all the men in her past that she's scared she's never going to find true love.
I have let men in my life treat me pretty badly. And I know that that isn't necessarily my fault, but it feels like it is sometimes. I'm scared that I'll never find a guy who will treat me the way that I'm supposed to be treated, and that I'll always allow them to treat me badly. I struggled in silence with a domestic violence situation. Didn't tell any of my friends or family until after it was over. I thought that they would look at me as weak, which couldn't be further from the truth. They all supported me and were there and were so loving. But I still carry a lot of regret in not telling them.
And this could be interpreted to match up with the comment she left under my video, replying to someone saying that she based William off of someone in the past who was abusive. So we don't know for sure because she doesn't explicitly say who it was, obviously. That could be for legal reasons, for privacy, all of that. But it seems to indicate that that's who she based William off of.
And also in just allowing that behavior to continue for as long as it did. There are still days that if I read the wrong comments, my entire confidence just tanks.
A lot of other influencers contributed to this trend, so it was more common for them to talk about serious discussions. A lot of it had to do with their looks, certain things about their looks, which Haley did include stuff about her skin and her facial features. So it was overall something that kind of went along with the trend, but that particular part stuck out to me the most because it does have a lot to do with the past things she said.
Good morning, angels. It's 6 a.m., but we're ready to start our day.
And I may sound like a broken record at this point, but that shift in her content, even though she was following a trend, was serious because Haley had almost always done trolling content before. She did like the most unserious content ever, and she's kind of seemed to go back to that because it was temporary where she made serious content, but it was just such a shift that there was just no way that people wouldn't notice immediately that something serious had happened. Mm-hmm. But now Haley has gone back to her more silly content, and she's recently attended a bunch of major events, as well as posted her viral glam bot video. For those who do not know, every year she usually posts a glam bot video, and hers turn out very well, so they go mega viral. And this year, one clip of her glam bot she posted on her TikTok got 7 million likes. So her content seemingly has gone back to its normal shift in a way. She still does make some TikToks mentioning how she's enjoying being single, and she's just so happy that that period of her life is over, but overall, more of her content is back to joking now. Like this video in particular where she says, "Okay, I think single looks better on me," and she shows some clips from a very recent major event with her hairstyle and her new dress. And obviously that led people back to, oh, that one relationship that was absolutely terrible. And the messaging of that TikTok is pretty clear. Right now she's taking a break from relationships, and that could be due to a multitude of reasons, but being in a situation like that is probably obviously very draining, and she likely just wants a long break to focus on herself and her health.
Something very strange. She reached out to Jamie and told her that the information about this man didn't really faze her. She doesn't view men that way, and that she sees it as purely business. And then shortly after, what do you know? Haley starts posting this man again. Now, obviously, this is super shady and reckless for a number of reasons. Basically confirms that Hailey Baylee lies about her relationships with men in order to build hype and curiosity around her videos. But by also making content with this man, giving him a platform and tagging him in content, she is giving a highly questionable, potentially dangerous man an audience.
It didn't take long for the situation to quickly pick up in TikTok discussion-wise, and people began to cover it, saying and taking different sides. A lot of people sided with Jamie, but some people backed up Hailey.
An audience of primarily young females who watch her. The last post on her TikTok was of her crying in bed, possibly alluding to some sort of a fake breakup with the fake boyfriend. The man in question now has about 6,000 followers on his TikTok. I will not be tagging him. Anyway, what do you guys think of this whole entire situation?
This TikToker in particular pointed out that she was giving him an audience, and that's one of the reasons she sided with Jamie, was that this was dangerous, obviously, because this man does clearly have a problem with cheating and DMing people he shouldn't be DMing when he's in relationships and all of that stuff. So it does put some women in danger, and that was what quite a few other TikToks I saw said, but some of them did say very similar things, so I'm not going to show them all. I thought this one, it also had a lot of views, so a lot of people agreed with it from the likes I saw. I thought this one represented them the best. This is also a fairly recent TikTok, and I've seen this. It is kind of more of a trend when you finally reach that point of the breakup and she goes from being sad to feeling, confident again. It's like you're finally over the terrible things your boyfriend put you through, all of that. So we can see a shift in her mood, and she's changing, and her content is with her.
I've seen a few other women on here talking about this, so I thought I'd join in because I think this is super, super, super important to talk about, and not enough people talk about it. Here are some crazy rules that my ex-boyfriend had for me that I didn't think were toxic until we broke up. And yes, this is the man that the character William was based off of. And no, it's not my ex-husband. Please don't bring him into this. He's the most amazing man. So please, please, please just protect his privacy. Number one, I could not see a male doctor. He viewed me talking to any man, especially being in a room alone with any man, as cheating. So going to see a male doctor was completely off limits.
This video is slightly older, but it kind of goes along with the comments she put under my video. Once again, she based William off of someone who's very, very toxic. We don't know who, obviously. There's many different reasons why she would keep it private, but it's safe to say she has been open about her experiences with men in the past.
Yes, even if it was just for like a routine medical care screening. And it didn't matter how old he was, if he was married, if he had kids, all of that, still considered cheating. I was not allowed to be friends with his female friends because he was scared that we'd become better friends and then they would turn on him and tell me all of his secrets. Which means I wasn't allowed at certain hangouts, at certain events, because his female friends were there. I honestly don't know how I ever agreed to that, but I was also in the trenches of toxicity and sadness, and so I agreed to a lot of really, really dumb things.
The fact that he was allowed to have female friends, but she wasn't allowed to see a male doctor is honestly, actually insane, dude. What? I feel like that just, kind of contradicts itself. You can't make your partner or the person you're so-called in love with see people, but then refuse to let them see. It just doesn't make sense. Honestly, I feel arguably, female friends are, just, a doctor, that's just routine. The doctor's not gonna cheat with, that's not gonna happen. But, I guess if you're really close friends with a girl, let's say from childhood, maybe you'll fall in love, maybe there's a possibility. So that just is, crazy how, hypocritical that entire situation was.
I was never allowed to wear any outfit in public that went past the tips of my fingers, because he didn't want me to be looked at by other men. It also got to the point where I wasn't allowed to leave the house without him, checking to make sure that I was wearing something that was appropriate for me to leave the house in. And that's how I came up with the outfit checks my billionaire boyfriend William has me do every single day. Whenever we would go out together, on a date, to dinner, to a club, to anything, he would make sure that I felt the need to put on makeup. And if I ever went out like this, he would make my life a living. He'd talk about how put together other women are, about how feminine they look, about how pretty their makeup is. And he'd be like, you always kind of look like a boy.
So that concludes the video today. If you want to see more references with the comments, just look at the older video. You'll have to kind of go through them. And let me know what you think. The comment she left was very, very respectful. One of the most respectful comments I've seen a creator leave. Let me know what you think, like particularly of Jamie, particularly of Haley. Please be respectful in the comments because this is obviously a very sensitive and serious topic. But I'm curious to know all of your thoughts, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it this far, you have an attention span that is just great compared to like 99% of the world. And thanks for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.